guys, welcome back to another episode of Tuned. I've got my buddy Ethan here, and what are we doing today?
Today I'm going to show you guys how to fix a screwed up tune.
Okie dokie. We're going to dive right into it.
We have this 09 Silverado. It's got a Magnuson supercharger on it. It's already got some kind of tuning on it. It's using a Bully Dog programmer. I'm not sure if it was custom programmed or what, but it does not drive well. It starts up really poor, idles poor, shifts are bad, some weird torque management stuff coming in, lots of things to fix. So I'm going to start by reading the existing tune off. Key in position 2. I always like to hit gather info first and then see the complete listing of, like, there's the computer for the engine and then the TCM as well. I'm going to read both of those off right now. And we're reading. Give it a couple minutes. Once this reads off, I'm going to show you guys where you can go to try to get a stock tune file if you don't have that. Say if your vehicle has already been tuned by a previous owner and you don't even know who tuned it or anything. So we're reading the tune file, then I'm going to get the stock file, and I will show you guys how to compare them and identify what's important and what needs changed. Okay, so I have this tune file saved off as it was. I've saved it even with the name Bully right there. The first thing I want to do to identify what file I need to go get as a stock file is go in here to Edit, Calibration Details, and there it's going to show me the year of the vehicle. So there's all the specifics. 09 Silverado 3/4 ton 6.0. So I need to go find a tune in the tune repository that is that. So I'm already logged into my HP Tuners here. So if you have one of the MPVI units from HP Tuners, then you've got a serial number and a login that you can get into here. So once you log in, I just click my name and then tune repository. Come on down over here and enter in the specifics. 09 Chevy Silverado. Then we got, let's see, engine size. I'm going to go ahead and pick 6.0 and search. Okay, there we have it. 2009 6.0 Silverado stock tune file. So I'm going to download that file. Click. Yes, got to do a couple extra clicks here. Save. And then I'm going to open that file up. So this should be the stock 09 Silverado. Alright, I've brought the tune file back up on screen. You see the title, Bully, there. Now I'm going to compare this file to the one I just downloaded. And there it is. HD stock. Open. So now we have both of the files open, and it's going to highlight for us differences. And you can see some of the differences here in airflow, the highlighted green. That shows you the differences as you click through all of the items. However, you can see all of the differences by going into the under compare, view comparison log. Okay, so this is everything. Here are all the differences between the stock tune file and this tune file. With some time, if you've looked at a lot of vehicles, you can kind of look down a list and decide, okay, yeah, it looks like only the relevant parameters are changed, and maybe maybe it's a good tune, whatever. But in this one, I see a few things right away that are not things that I would change. And there's a few things, man. A big problem I see a lot would be changing too many things in a tune. It really, to get a tune proper, it does not take, we should end it right there, and I should do this part on face, I think.
Alright, so Ethan wanted to highlight something.
Yeah, so after bringing up the tune map and the stock map, I see that on this truck there's not a huge amount of differences, but I wanted to take this moment to tell you guys a big problem that I see often is just that too many parameters have been screwed with. And if your vehicle is very heavily modified, then maybe there is reason to change a lot of parameters. But I often find that it's best, especially if you're having drivability issues, to go back to as close to stock as you can. Now obviously if you've changed injector size or MAF size, then you're gonna have to port those changes over. But it's best, like, I like to leave all the transmission stuff stock until either I'm done with the engine tune or until it's intrusive to my engine tuning.
Okay, all right. Well, I think we're going to get back on the computer.
Okay, so important note, when you do this compare stuff, the file that you're actually making changes to needs to be the first file that you open up. So I have the stock file as my initial file, and then I've opened up the tune file that I read off as my compare file. So in here, then I go down to the injector size, and I can see they're different. There's the stock file, 19 scaling up to 43, and then here's the tune file, 45 scaling up to 48. So this is a change that absolutely has to get carried over, even if I'm trying to go as stock as possible right now. So to do that, there's two different ways we can do it. If you're just trying to pick out little pieces, you can do it this way, where you actually pull up the two tables and you're looking at them. So what I'll do is I'll go in and copy. If you click that top left square that selects all, copy. So now I've copied all that info. Then I'm going to click over here to my stock file and paste in, Control V, boom. Now it's populated with the injector information. So that change is done. Now the other way, the faster way to do that would be I can click this entire tree of injector control and then tell it right click, copy over selected. Now be very careful here, because if you click over copy over all differences, it will port everything over. So you want to make sure with your clicks here, copy over selected differences only. And now you saw that the fuel portion of the tree is gone, because there is no difference now between the new map, the stock map that we're working on, and the tuned file as far as injector sizing is concerned. So we know that now our injector size is set. Coupled with that would be the mass airflow calibration. So once we get this one, and I'm going to go ahead and do that same step again, copy over selected differences, boom, MAF is now gone. So there are some other MAF settings, but we're not going to worry about those yet. On a Chevy like this one, those are really the two main settings for getting your fueling correct. So if the tune file was in the ballpark as far as fueling, then use the tune's injector info, use the tune's mass airflow info, and then your fueling should be in the ballpark. I mentioned the other mass airflow setting a moment ago. I'm going to pull that up for you guys to see more specifically here. Okay, so here is the stock airflow setting. Now this is related to the MAF and how it blends the map sensor reading with the MAF sensor reading. So it's basically got like a cutoff here at above 4,000 RPMs that it's going to use the mass airflow meter. Below that, it's going to use the map sensor. On a vehicle like this that has a supercharger, or let's say if we had a big cam or any substantial tuning change, a lot of times you'll end up changing these dynamic airflows to be a pure MAF tune. That looks like this. So this way, basically, if you're above 400 RPMs, then you're going to be on the mass airflow tune, and it's not going to care what all the speed density stuff is. Having said that, there's a little bit more going on than what I'm stating right now, but I'm trying to give as simple of a version as possible for this video's purpose. So we pretty much covered the fueling stuff. I may revisit a couple other parts of that, and that, like I said, I'm being kind of general. On certain vehicles, there might be a few other components to that, but I've showed you guys where you can view those differences. So you should be able to go in, see what table has a difference, and then if you need to run that table number through HP Tuner's search or something, do some research on it. I mean, it's the same thing when I have a new car that I have stuff that I'm unfamiliar with. I research. So fueling stuff aside, now let's look at the ignition timing. So on this vehicle, it has boost, so it's definitely going to be a significantly different timing table. And on top of that, the truck timing tables are very, very soft anyway. So this is what the stock truck timing table looks like. Very low numbers out there. And then here is the tuned table. And you can see huge number change. And another useful tidbit to know is this box right here where it shows you the differences. So that's telling me that we have 18 more degrees in this tuned timing map than we have in the factory timing map. That is a large difference. Because the truck has such weak timing, it is somewhat normal to have such a large difference. But anytime you see this big of a difference between the stock file and your file that you're working with, then you need to proceed with caution and make sure that you understand what you're doing, what you're changing.
Okay, so we want to show you a few of the misbehaviors that this thing is doing.
Yeah, so we did some of our basic changes right now, but I've not actually flashed those to the truck. I want to go back in time a little bit. I want to take you guys on a drive and just highlight what it's doing wrong and what we are flagging mentally that we need to fix.
Okay, let's do it. All right, so we got done on the computer. Me and Ethan want to take the truck for a quick drive, show you all the startup real quick and all the little hiccups that it's doing. Give me a startup. So what are some of the issues that this truck is having?
Right away it has really poor startup. Sometimes it cranks for like 8-10 revolutions before it even begins to try to start, and then it's not a clean start. But other things that it's doing, it's got some kind of fueling issue that I'm trying to figure out, where at once you get up above 4,000 RPMs, sometimes it chokes out. It seems like it's lacking fuel delivery.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just a torque management thing in the tune. So I'm logging right now, trying to capture that moment. So I'm gonna pin it right here and we'll see if it does it. That'll be steady state on the throttle right there. Steady on it. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, all I did is dip in and stay in, and the truck did that. So
yeah,
something big happens there. I'm gonna stop the log and we'll review what that was.
All right, great.
All right, so here is the log of that hesitation that we just showed you guys. However, it doesn't look like I'm going to get to show you exactly the cause of that at this moment, because I don't have all the right parameters over here logged. I need to add in some torque management parameters so that I can see if that flag is coming on or not over here as I'm traveling through that problem area. So as I move through here, I mean, you can see it's in open loop. Everything's mass airflow is actually falling near the end of that. So that kind of tells me maybe a throttle body is shutting. So I definitely want to look at the torque management and throttle settings. And I don't have all that stuff logged over here. So I'm going to need to populate this with the right info and then go log again so that I can get an accurate look at what's happening.
Back to the truck. Back to the truck. Jason just got his truck painted. Looks good.
Okay, so I just want to show you guys what I was mentioning a moment ago. I'm going to go to this little add button here, click, and then you can type in whatever it is that you're looking to add. So torque. So then I can look through, and I mean, sometimes it's a good idea just to peruse these settings, because sometimes you'll see something and you're like, oh cool, like I didn't know I could have that logged. But here's what I'm looking for right now, is that torque management advanced. So I double click that, it just added it in. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple other of these torque settings in here as well. All right, so I'm adding the torque management parameter. So now we should be able to see if that is interfering with what's going on. There we go. So right now, no torque management is happening. Let's go draw. Source would be another word that's very common to enter, like torque and source are words that need to be entered into parameters to check what is possible there. All right, let's get on it. There's the cut.
Oh man,
so bad.
That one was rough.
Okay, so in reference to that, when you add the blower, you're obviously making a lot more torque. And so the factory truck torque management means that as you come up to a shift point, the truck is going to retard timing, like ramp timing out as it's about to shift, and then ramp timing back in for the next gear to ease that hit on the transmission. Well, now our torque numbers are so much higher that ramping in and out is maybe not appropriate. So I don't like to get rid of the torque management completely, but I'm going to change the settings. I'm going to compare the stock settings to these settings, and then I'm going to make changes based on my previous experience and what I see in the logs.
Okay, great.
Okay, so there we are at that hesitation point. We're in boost, and look, torque management advance 11 degrees. So I need to change. I can't be having it yank out 11 degrees all of a sudden. That's a huge drop in power. So I need to see what setting I need to massage for that. So now that I know that it is torque management, I'm gonna go into that same compare feature, type in torque management, and then I can see what are the differences between the stock torque management settings and my current torque management settings, and see what makes sense and what doesn't.
Okay, great.
Okay, so now that we know that there's a torque management issue, we want to go over to the compare and view comparison log, and then now in here we're going to look for our torque management difference. Let's see, moving on down. Torque management, okay, so definitely in here there's some limits that have been raised. There's some ETC tip-in torque limiting that's been changed. So let's go into our torque management area. So I've located here in the torque management under the trans, I've located something that, and you can see how they're highlighted in green. So those are the differences between the stock setting and the tune setting. So this one right here, speed control terminate. It's currently set to immediate. I believe that is responsible for our issue. The factory setting is, if I click over, is torque ramp. So probably they changed that because the torque is very different. So the torque ramp rate is going to be very different from whatever that's going to specify. But this immediate cut has it truly cutting completely. Maybe we can try speed ramp instead of torque ramp, and perhaps that will give us the feeling and not get the cut. Also, torque reduction is turned as disabled on the upshift. I prefer to actually enable it and then reduce the setting rather than just completely eliminate it. So I'm going to enable that, and I've changed that to speed ramp. I'm going to save this, flash it, and I suspect we will find that our shifting issue and our torque management issue is over.
All right, so back in the truck after making a few changes.
Yeah, so to be clear, we're now driving this with only the settings that you guys have seen me change, pretty much.
Yep.
We changed the injector sizing, we changed the mass airflow settings, we changed the torque management setting that you just saw me change, and we changed the ignition timing map back to stop. Aside from that, all the other settings are factory right now.
Our factory.
Yep. So
all right.
Let's see what it does. I'm about to go in all the way. Seems pretty good to me.
Seems pretty quick too for a big old truck.
I think everything's gonna be good now. Trying to see that that's the case.
That would have been the perfect scenario for it to misbehave.
Yep. That was good.
That was good.
That seemed good. That's a good shift. Good shift. All right. That seems good to me.
Then you're gonna take a right here. All right, sweet. Well, it looks like this truck's ready to get on the dyno now.